It's one of them days. Today is one of those days. Didn't want to do it. Didn't want to get down here. My mind was creating all sorts of excuses and cop-out reasons to not come down here, to not train, to not record. But I was honest with myself. And once I was honest with myself that the reason why I didn't want to come down here and that I didn't want to do it was pure laziness and pure lack of motivation. I didn't want to do it. And you have to be honest with yourself. At certain times, you have to ask the question, do you want to do this? Do I genuinely want to do this? And is the reasons and excuses that I'm telling myself in my head actual reasons, or are they just conjuring up because you're trying to create something to tell yourself that there is a reason for you not doing it? And it happens, some days you just don't want to do it. Even if it is the thing that you love, even if it is your passion, there are going to be days where you have to sit and have a conversation with yourself in your own mind and battle those thoughts that are telling you to have a day off, take it easy, be easy on yourself. But that isn't how things get done, and that isn't how progress is made. So you have to be brutally honest with yourself and have that conversation when you come to terms with yourself, that when you're trying to make yourself find any sort of cop-out excuse, sit yourself down and have that conversation and assess the situation. You'll find that that conversation that you're having with that other version of yourself that's conjuring up all those excuses and telling you every reason not to, that once you actually start the thing, if you give yourself 5 minutes to think about it and look at it, or maybe actually actively start it, it was just the conversation in your head that was the hardest. It's not actually going to do the thing. It's not actually starting the thing. It's getting out of that constant cycle in your mind of that battle, that conversation with that other version of you that is trying to convince you to not do it because it's a comfortability factor. You know that you'll be more comfortable if you just don't do it. And in the general sense, just give in to your comfortability, into your comfortable place where you know that there will be no adverse feelings, there will be no existential emotions that are coming over you. You won't have to panic, you won't have to worry about what happens, this and that. You can just be comfortable. But that isn't how progress is made. That isn't how growth happens. So that is why I'm down here. That is me being accountable. Like I said, these videos are accountability for me to come down here and do what I have to do and document it, which I am finding is very helpful, because I know that if I don't do a session or skip a session, then it won't be recorded, I won't have the content, and it just helps that little bit extra with coming to terms with myself about doing a session and about the quality of my sessions now that they're recorded. I have to keep this consistency up. Think about that next time that opportunity arises, when you get that chance to do the thing that you know you should do, but that inner voice is telling you you don't have to do. But anyways, today is session number 14. I will be hitting chest and triceps. It's always a good one when I know I started out that I didn't want to do the session, but I've forced myself to do it anyway over discipline and pure need for personal growth. It's always a good, intense session when it starts that way. So start out with some incline bench and just see where it goes from there. Majority of these sessions are just tunnel vision, purely because I don't want the recording to just mess up my routine, mess up my stuff, how I go about my training and things like that. So nothing else left to say. I'm going to warm up on the incline and jump straight into a top set. So enough talking. Let's just do it.
Come on then! Yeah. Come on! Woo!
Tad heavy, but I don't have 2.5s, so had to add an extra 5 each side, which appeared to be a bit too much, but hey, set's a set. It was intense, a little lower reps than I'd like, but sometimes that's just the way it goes. So I'm going to drop the weight now and then hit another set, and I'll probably make it a rest pause just to make up for the lack of reps. Let's go again.
Come on! One more!
Woo! No rest pause on that. That was a good set. Wow.
Come on in! Come on! And again! One more!
That is where it's at. Like I said, it's moments like that, sets like that, where you find your mind. You find that inner voice that I was telling you about. That fucker in the back of your mind. You can hear him fucking talking away in your ear. Sets like that where you find him. Those last couple of reps, he doesn't even exist. I might do one last set, drop the weight. Actually, I might just do one last set, end of, and then move on. Let's do that. Let's get into it.
Come on! One more!
Woo! That's it.
Failure has been achieved. Feel like Tom Platz. Gonna move on to some flat dumbbell flies. Really focusing on that deep stretch and intense squeeze. You know, that it doesn't need to be heavy at all. In fact, it's even more effective if it's a weight that you can really get the most out of that stretch and that squeeze. Because if it's too much, too heavy, you won't be able to get the right stretch on it, nor will you be able to get the right squeeze. So it's very important with movements like that, picking your weight, choosing your weight, and being smart about it. Because there are exercises where you get more out of it by being smart with the weight that you choose. So just think about that when you're doing some exercises. So I'm just going to move straight onto it. Let's do it. Woo! Yeah, perfect weight, perfect movement. Just going to sit here for a few, and then after this move on to triceps, but 2 more here I'm judging, and then move on. Let's just do it. Woo! One more, and then move on. Woo! That's good. Chest is pumped. Now time to pump the tries. Gonna move on to easy bar overhead. Let's do it. decided to use that bar instead of the easy bar, just because I feel like it takes a lot of tension or a lot of strain off of my elbows. I get a lot of sharp pain when I do, or sometimes when I do the easy bar, but this bar's good. It takes a bit of tension off the wrists, off the elbows, but still being able to target those triceps. I could just sit here and spam these and that might be the end of it, or I might finish up. No, I might actually do that because this feels good. And the only other option I have is close grip bench. And after this, you know, so we'll see how this goes, but I could just wrap the session up after this. So let's do a couple more, see where it goes. Woo! Gonna sit here for 2 more and then I'll call it at that. Woo! 1 more and then that's it. Let's do it. Come on in. Woo! Session 14 complete. I'm going to tidy this up and then we'll wrap it up. Let's do it. Session 14 in the books. Even though it started out as a session that wasn't even going to happen, and it was just a case of comfortability or accountability. Very important decision to make, a decision that only you can make with yourself when you get these opportunities and these things that arise that you know that you don't want to do, but you also know that you have to do. Otherwise, you will not grow, you will not succeed, and you will not learn, because the same cycle will just keep happening. You will keep giving in to that voice in the back of your mind, that other version of you that is conjuring up all of those excuses to stay comfortable, to stay in that comfort zone. But as often as you can have that conversation with yourself, you should, because that is how you grow, that is how you learn, and that is how you experience these things and see them in a first-hand, real-life view for yourself. Because it's all well and good hearing these people talk about this stuff. You know, even me, the things that I talk about,
there's only so much information that you can take in and that you can understand until it comes to a point where you actually have to experience it and do it yourself to realize its true value and true meaning behind these things, behind the things that you hear, that people say you should be doing this, you should be doing that. You know, you're listening to it, yeah. But it's not until you actually do something that you realize its true value and how important some of these things can be to utilize and to have at your disposal. So, yeah, comfortability or accountability. Today, I chose accountability, and it's documented. So, as often as I can do that, man, I'm happy with myself, because, you know, it gets increasingly harder, you know, with things like this, weight training and whatever hard task that you do day after day after day. Every day is day one. There is no, you know, tracking your days. If it's that deep rooted, that planted in your mind, in your soul, in your body, and it's something that you are so passionate for, you know, that is just ingrained in you, then every day is day one. That is the mentality that you have to have towards your passion, the thing that you love doing, that every day is day one. Every day is the same day. You do the same shit. You get up. You know what's on the calendar. You know what you've got to do. You know everything that's involved in this thing that you're passionate for, and you just have to do it. At the end of the day, it is a decision. Do it or don't. Every day is day one. So, accountability is the best route to take when you are faced with these types of sessions, situations in general. You know, being honest with yourself, being open. There's no point being complacent and allowing that voice in the back of your mind to generate those excuses, generate anything that's going to make you not do the thing that you're supposed to do. So think about that. But yeah, good session. Glad I done it. Glad I came down here. You know, the only bad session that you have is the one that you miss. I promise you. Every session that I've never wanted to come to, never wanted to do, and that I have done, they have been good sessions, because you then have that drive that I don't want to fucking do this session, but I'm going to do it anyway. And that is a sense of motivation in itself. So keep that mind ticking. Keep having that conversation with yourself. Keep being honest with yourself. True honesty and true accountability. But other than that, I will see you in the next one. That is it.